The creative process is one of the most astonishing things our brain is capable of. The way we can just come up with things and put those to use is so cool to me. Like someone looked at a chair one time and said, "What if that rolled?" And guess what? Now we have rolly chairs with wheels. It always astounded me that our brains can do stuff like that. And with that, Super Mario Maker 1 and Super Mario Maker 2 give us the opportunity to make the Mario Maker level of our dreams. We can use the creative process to design something fun and creative. We have an open Mario canvas. It's a truly beautiful thing. But then everybody uses it to make 1-1 remakes. Anywho, as I said earlier, Mario Maker is an incredible tool. I love the way it's set up, and today I decided I'm going to take you through the creative process I use when I create my levels. So without further ado, let's get building. So immediately when you open a new Mario Maker level, you're greeted with a wide open canvas. And when you have nothing in mind, that can be very intimidating. It's huge and there's nothing there. It's up to you to fill it. This is probably the hardest part of the process, deciding what you want to do. So to start off, the first thing I do is to look through the objects that are given to me. Now, Mario Maker has a lot of objects you can use, and that too can be quite intimidating. So let's take it slow and figure out what each one does. I like to create a flat plane and experiment with the gizmos, as Mario Maker calls it. Also, don't forget, each game mode plays differently, so decide what moveset you want before continuing. Then, once I've decided on a game mode, a level theme, and the gizmo I'm going to use, I get right down to business. It's time to build. Today I decide to build a level based on lifts. A lift is a platform that can both move or fall when a player touches it. Now, when I think of a lift, it makes me think of an athletic level. So that means I'm going to use mushrooms and go with the sky background to make my level feel a bit more authentic, but with my own spin. Now would you look at that? We've laid a solid foundation. Now it comes to how I'd like my levels to play out. When designing a level, I like to start with the philosophy of including an idea, expanding upon that, and then excelling at it. What I mean by that is I start the level out by showing exactly what your level is going to be. So in this case, I'll be using lifts and mushroom platforms. So we'll start off easy so the player can understand exactly what they have ahead of them. A key tip is to always keep the player in mind. Always look at the level as if you were experiencing it for the first time and you have no idea what would be coming next. Anyway, with that on our minds, let's get building. So I'm going to start by making what I call the most important part of the level, the opening. I see it as the most important part because the start of a level is going to introduce the player to whatever Mario goodness is waiting for them. How I normally start my levels off is I get the object I decided upon using and make a simple start with it. So what I am using this lift platform. What I'm going to do is give them a nice easy jump to begin with so they get a feel for what they're going to do. Then after that jump I add another lift or two, letting the player ease into the level before we ramp up the difficulty. After I've made a little introduction section or two, I decide to kick it up a notch. This is the fun part, ramping up the difficulty. While ramping up the difficulty, start making things a little wackier, like how I put wings on this lift, or making some of these lifts fall. Try to use everything you've got in your arsenal of capabilities within the object that you're using. Like attach it to tracks or something. Now look at that, our level's starting to look complete, but I can't help but feel something's missing. Oh, that's right. Power-ups. One of the great things about Mario is the power-ups. We wouldn't want to forget about them, would we? So hop your way back to the beginning of the level, and I like to start my levels off with a simple mushroom. Unless you're theming your level around a power-up, a mushroom is always the right way to start it. Grab a question block and throw a mushroom into it, then put that in a place the player won't have too much trouble grabbing it. So in our case, this little mushroom platform here at the start would be perfect. Then later down the line, you're going to want to throw another question block in and fill it with a power-up that requires you to have a mushroom. So in our case, we're going to use a fire flower and we're going to put it right in here to make it fit with our level. Now that we have the power-ups out of the way, we got the next big addition, the reason for power-ups. The enemies. So here's what I do when I think about enemies. I like to think about what would fit the theme of my level. In our case now, with sky, lifts, and mushrooms, my mind immediately goes to flying enemies like paratroopers and bullet bills. Now there's another hard part, which is finding the perfect amount of enemies to use. You don't want to oversaturate your level and fill it with enemies just for the sake of it being difficult. You want to look for good places to put enemies. Like again, in our case, in between these two lifts, a red paratrooper would fit perfectly, giving you a small chance to overcome at the beginning. Then continue through the level looking for some little areas that look like they need a little enemy to fill the emptiness. Now we can talk about sub-areas. Not every level needs a sub-area, but sub-areas are a beautiful thing. So let's grab a pipe and open one up. When opening a sub-area, you'll immediately see an option whether you want to have a vertical sub-area or a horizontal sub-area. Now both of these are great options, but for the level I created, I think I'm going to go with a small horizontal sub-area. I'm going into the mindset of this sub-area being a little bonus for the player who went out of their way to find it. So I'm going to make a neat little mushroom platform and some coins as a small reward. Then I'm going to have an exit pipe leading the player farther into the level as another small reward for going out of his way to find the sub-area. Now look at that, your level finished up smoothly. But one thing is still missing, and that's style. Grab some semi-solid platforms, some vines, and throw them into the background to give your level some pizzazz. But don't go too overboard, just try to keep your level themed to a certain semi-solid or something like that. But then again, that's not a necessity, that one's just a choice. Then maybe these definitely aren't a necessity, I always forget about these, but throw in some coins just for fun. But not too much though. Now keep in mind, we're thinking about the player here. We want to keep their interest so they can continue playing. You wouldn't want them to skip on your level, would you? Of course not. So to do that, here's some things to avoid. Number 1. Enemy oversaturation. A level flooded with enemies isn't too much fun to play. Enemies can be used in special areas and they don't have to be forced. If they don't feel natural, don't put them in. Number 2. Try your best to make it look appealing. Try to avoid just throwing random ground blocks with no organization or pattern. Number 3. Hidden blocks are a beautiful yet terrible thing. Don't use these to hurt someone for no reason. Number 4. Avoid soft locks. To do this, I like to play through my level and look for any area the player can get stuck, because nobody likes to get stuck and have to wait out on the timer. It's just not fun at that point. Now would you look at that? We built a fun, functional, and detailed level. But when level building, always remember, have fun with it. Enjoy what you're building, take pride in your levels, and if trolling people with hidden blocks is really what you enjoy, go ahead. Just please don't upload it for my sake. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed and got some useful information out of this. Remember, the creative process is huge, so this is just how I personally build levels. You guys do whatever you want and have fun with it. Mario Maker is a great game and a great level designer. I love to see the creations the world makes, so always remember, have fun. And the most important part in level building is not only you having fun while doing it, but also other people having fun while playing your levels. With that, I'll probably head out. What does that say? One-way door? No, not a soft lock. I'm soft locked in here? I'm gonna be stuck here for the rest of eternity. No!